We are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into this week's edition of the Auburn Live Call-In Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. I'm joined, as I always am, by three people, 3.5. We'll count Zach in the back as a half until he comes to the front. Now, guys that know a little bit too much about Auburn recruiting, if there is such a thing. Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Mr. Keith Niebuhr. How about you, fellas?
Yes, sir.
How about you, brother?
All right. Hey, we got a lot to talk about tonight. We will get to that. We will talk. We'll answer, obviously, the calls. They will dictate our conversations, but we do have some information and some stuff to talk about to pass the time. But I don't know if y'all saw this. There was a freaking skyrider in Auburn today. You know, the people who fly around at night, in the sky, and they write. And it was like, Jay Lee, need a house in Auburn, Opelika. Who can I call? Dude, I got you, man. Don't spend the money for the skyrider. Get that Jessica Andrews number going. She's with the Talents Group, folks. Auburn, Opelika, Lee County. She can find you a house. She can sell you a house. She does investment property. She does residential property. She does it all. She's a 5-star realtor, a consensus 5-star realtor. 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. Folks, since we last met, Auburn has added another commitment, another 4-star. It's fourth 4-star of the 2024 class in Jamariq Burnett, 4-star running back from Andalusia. What do you think about that? Cole Pinkston.
Well, I'm glad it happened, man, because I've had that prediction sitting there for a while now. I'm like, man, thank goodness.
Early February. Now, when you say that, Cole, when you say I put that in early February, you got to do like this.
It's a small flex.
It's a small flex. Nah, hey, big dog. Hey, listen, people don't ever remember when you get them right, Cole. They only remember when you get them wrong. Ask Keith. He'll know. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's why you got to remind him. That's why you got to remind him. Right. There you go.
That's exactly right. We're going to keep talking. Hey, we want to get some callers go, man. I want to get that calling line jacked up, backed up. Let's hope Johnny Caldwell is not too deep into that that 12-pack to give us a call.
Yes, sir.
701-779-9585. Be the first to call. Cole, back to you. Jamariq Burnett committed to Auburn on Friday. Not surprisingly, Auburn.
Yep.
Anything jump out at you? Was the timing a little surprising for you?
Well, I think it tells you one thing about everybody, every target we're watching. He said when he was at junior day, he said, hey, I'm going to commit maybe in the summer, and kind of left it open for that. Yeah, I think we posed him on it. Like, when do you think you might commit? And he's like, summer, something like that. Maybe that kind of thing. So then, he comes out of nowhere, and that could happen with anybody. It really could. You have to watch these guys because when the push is on, and that's, I think somebody made the point on the board, maybe it's another running back that joins the class pretty soon, because there is now a push for another running back to get their spot. I thought that was a good point when I asked who was kicking the other day. So, maybe there was some pressure there. They said, hey, we got a bunch of backs on the board. You better come on if you're coming, kind of thing. And he jumped in, and I think he wanted to all along, just wanted to make sure that was the right thing. He wanted to see the places he just finished his last visit to Florida State, committed the next day or next couple days, right? So he saw what he wanted to see, made the decision. Now, watch out for another running back.
Zach, you jumping in here like you got something to say.
Yeah, we got 3 callers on the line already.
Great day in the morning. Let's hit them up. Get us going.
5550. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, fellas, how you doing? This is Brian Davis. I'm calling from Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Brian Davis from Deerfield Beach, home of, you remember the 5-star quarterback, the lefty from Deerfield Beach?
Signed with Tennessee,
yes.
Yeah.
Brian, do you remember who that was?
I don't have you guys.
Well, hang on.
Who was it, Keith?
I don't think I was covering Auburn at that time.
He later ended up at Ole Miss after he got kicked out of Tennessee. What was the kid's name? And Ed Orgeron signed him.
Oh God, he was like Nolan or Lolan or
because they also signed the Ainge kid in the same class.
Oh
Did we lose Brian, Zach?
No, he's still here.
Oh, my bad, Brian.
I'm still here.
Sorry, dude. You've said Deerfield Beach. Do you remember the quarterback probably 10 years ago from Deerfield Beach?
I can't remember the Deerfield Beach. Believe it or not, I'm part of the Dillard Five back in the day in the early '90s.
Whoa. Yeah, let's talk some history here.
You just moved up to VIP.
I probably dropped a little nugget. I love you guys' show. I watch you guys every Sunday night, and I'm the one on the board. I don't post a whole lot, but I read a whole lot. So
Best kind of posters.
Okay.
yeah, that's a story for another day. Hey, actually, Jeffrey, I got a little story for you. I played ball with your cousin up at Irwin High School, Greg.
Did you really?
He was. Yep. Yes, I did.
What year? Were you in the same class?
Played ball at Irwin High with Norman Bryant. He signed. He was a quarterback.
I remember Norman. Y'all had a bunch in that class. Y'all had like 4 or 5 guys signed D1 that year.
Yeah, we did. You know what? We should have. We were probably the best team in the state, and just too. It was one of those things where it's just too much talent. And David Dodd. He was a linebacker. He signed with Tennessee. Your cousin signed with Ole Miss. I'm trying to think of everybody else. A long time ago. That was back in the day, believe it or not.
Wasn't there some Montevallo or
Yeah, there was somebody signed with Montevallo. I believe Southern Miss. Boy, I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Brent Schaefer.
But, we had really good. Yeah, that was a long time ago. Bobby Johns was the coach. He was All-American at Alabama back in the day. He played with Kenny Staver. He was my head coach.
Nice. So, Brian, you've made the move from Irwin to Deerfield Beach, home of Brent Schaefer.
Yep, that's down in near Boca with KT down here at FAU and stuff. So, riding pretty high in the area right now.
I was with Miami and FAU in a Final Four. That's, Could you imagine?
Yeah. The Miami people, basketball-wise, aren't really out there a whole lot. But FAU, being near Boca and stuff is, I'm less than a mile from Boca. Those people are pretty hyped about what's going on. And I actually have a second bachelor's from FAU, so I'm an alumni from there as well. So, it's a good thing. So, and I'm happy for them.
I'm a big fan of the FAU defense.
I'm sorry. My question for you guys is the quarterback room, believe it or not. I just want to know what y'all's thoughts on it were, because I feel like Holden is actually QB1 if we actually had to go into a game right now. I feel like they're kind of tucking him away and trying to see what's out there as far as the portal goes. And I just wonder what your thoughts on that were, because I just don't see TJ or Robbie right now as an option. And I feel like they're just kind of letting Holden kind of hover out there or whatever. Like if they had to name one, absolutely had to name a quarterback right now, I believe it would be Holden. I don't know what your thoughts were on that.
Are you going off a gut feeling, or are you hearing this from the inside?
I don't I used to have a lot of connections on the inside. I don't anymore.
This is just kind of you kind of reading the tea leaves here.
I think it's more of reading tea leaves. I feel like that it'd make more sense to keep kind of quiet on hold. I'm not saying that he's the end all or be all or whatever, but I feel like that for a portal QB, I believe that TJ or Robbie would be less of a threat than a redshirt freshman who they're naming a number one quarterback. Like he's our guy right now until we find somebody else, so to speak, I guess.
I hear you.
I just want to know what your thoughts on that.
Sounds good, Brian. Hey, listen, we appreciate your call, man. I'm going to go to Cole for this one. He's heard some stuff. Jhead, I'm sure you got something to contribute as well. Cole, you talked to some people that were at the Friday situational scrimmage, heard some things about quarterback. I think Justin Hokanson had also put up some notes on the quarterback situation. Where do you think things stand with that QB room right now?
Well, first of all, if Holden Garner doesn't come out of the spring, or if he doesn't end up being Auburn starter with these three if there's nobody else, that's not a great sign for him, just to be completely honest, because we've seen what TJ Finley can do in a game. We've seen what Robbie Ashford can do in a game. For the most part, we haven't seen him in this offense, but we know what they bring. And if Holden doesn't, if he doesn't overcome that at this point, he's been in the system now as long as the other two guys have, you worry a little bit. I know where the Holden buzz is coming from. It's because he threw it pro day and he looked really good. I was there. Mm-hmm. He did look good. I thought he threw the ball. Look, here's the thing. All three of these guys, as much as you want to critique them, Robbie, TJ, Holden, have very good arms, okay? They didn't get here because they're weak in that department. It's all mental with these guys, in my opinion. They have to pick it up mentally. It's not the physical attributes for the most part. No, they may not be the best quarterbacks in the country, but they have the tools, okay? That's how they made it to a place like Auburn. So when Holden gets out there in front of everybody and throws on air, yeah, he's going to look great. When you get into these scrimmages, which we've had people talk to us and tell us what they've seen in these scrimmages, Holden never gets brought up for me. I never hear his name. I don't know why. And if I ask about him or if I, hey, what about Holden? Yeah, he was in there a few times. I don't hear much about him. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Good or right, yeah, good or bad, because you mostly hear criticism of the other two.
Yes, yeah. If you're hearing about him, that could be good or bad too. I mean, you just really don't know because it's all hearsay. But we just don't hear much about him. I hear the most about TJ Finley. That's just the honest truth. That's what you don't want to hear sometimes. I get it. That's who I hear the most about. Looking the best.
Jhead, any contributions?
Sure. Well, first of all, what a hell of a first call. I mean, we get the Dillard 5 gets mentioned. We start talking about Brent Schaefer, FAU basketball. I mean, I think we hit a trifecta.
The Irwin Eagles.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, but as it pertains to the quarterback room, and in particular Holden Geriner, Holden's still developing. It is everything that I've heard to this point. It's not a question of arm talent. I think as far as arm talent and the ability to layer throws, I think Holden is the most naturally gifted thrower of the football we have. Now, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but I think he's the most gifted thrower of the football on the roster. But I think he's just still going through the maturation process. TJ and Robbie, for all their faults, they've played a lot of college football. They're probably picking up the offense a little bit faster than Holden at this point. And I do think that they are giving those older guys a little bit more attention as of right now. But I have heard that Holden's been better the last two practices. He did look good in pro day, but like Cole said, those were scripted throws. He knew what was coming when he threw it. There wasn't any anticipation or guessing or adjusting to a defense. It's in a live situation. So I think the Auburn fan base does need to be patient with him to a degree. He is a very young quarterback. He's just coming out of his redshirt freshman year. Yes, more guys are playing at a younger age now than they ever have, but there's nothing wrong with a kid taking 2 or 3 years to develop in a scheme. And this is a different scheme. I mean, it's not like this the scheme he played in the fall. He is having to adjust to a degree. So would I say he's the odds-on favorite today? No, I wouldn't. I think the odds-on favorite probably isn't on Auburn's roster.
Yeah.
But that's just me spitballing here. There could be it could very well play out as we're going to have to make the best with what we've got when we get to fall, should somebody not enter the portal that's appealing to this coaching staff. So we'll see how that all plays out when we get on the other side of May 1st. But as of today, no, he's not the favorite. Yes, he's still developing. And yes, I still think he's got some upside.
Can I jump in for a second?
Jump in there, Keith.
I got 3 points to make. One, the Final Four TV ratings for our buddy in Deerfield. We're going to be awful. I actually, it's a great story, FAU and Miami. And I think you guys, anybody that's been on the board knows I'm a big fan of Laroniga, the Miami coach. But when you have two teams from one metro area and then a third team from San Diego where nobody else in that state's going to be following them, UConn will be a big draw. There's also not a ton of star power. But at this point, I mean, I wouldn't rule out FAU winning the whole thing, but it sure looks like UConn is just going to steamroll everybody.
Hey, you said the team from who was the San Diego team?
San Diego State.
How did they get there?
Beat
they did beat Alabama.
Did they get out of the Sweet 16?
Oh yeah, I know people like to think that you get to play for the national championship, even if you don't win all your games. You know what I mean? Like, there's this thought that, regardless, because of your name and your brand, that you get to be in the national championship game just because of who you are. But in NCAA basketball, you actually have to win every tournament game you play in. It is a shocking, way to go about things, right? But, hey, Alabama fans, call in. Come on. Let's talk basketball.
Well,
I did not mention Alabama.
Yeah, no problem. My second point is I was lucky enough years ago to cover a team where they had open practices. A college, you go to every practice as long as you wanted to stay there, you could stay there. This is kind of before the internet age. And so what you would see, and Jhead has spoken to this and Cole has spoken to this, you would see young quarterbacks with big time arms not be able to complete the most basic passes. Right. 20-yard passes would end up in the bleachers, okay? Because the arm and the brain weren't in sync. And all of a sudden in year 2, sometimes they would click or they wouldn't. And that guy wouldn't be with the program much longer. But sometimes it just takes a while. And guys, it's not like guys forget how to throw. It's that they're trying to throw while they're processing 5 other different things. And that thought's got to get from the brain into the hand, right? So anyway, and then my third point is now Hugh Freeze is, and you guys, we've all interviewed kids. We've all talked to kids. We've listened to interviews. He's telling people he wants to win now. Now, he knows he's not going to win a national title in year 1, I'm sure. But he's telling people, look, my goal is to win right now. Now, he's not telling me that. He's telling recruits this and their coaches, okay? Knowing that, it's hard to imagine he's going to go into a season without something at quarterback that makes him think they can win 8 games or more. I mean, to me, they're going hard in the portal, and people say, well, who are they going to get? Well, listen, man, there's been a lot of stories about Auburn's quarterbacks. Who's it going to be? Well, quarterbacks around the country are reading that, and when they're not reading it, their parents are reading it. Okay. So people are aware, elite quarterbacks, second teamers, starters at smaller programs, they know what's going on at Auburn. If they see an opening and Auburn's interested, you're going to see some movement, plain and simple. Jeffrey, you're nodding, so I'm assuming.
I completely agree. You're looking at those quarterbacks right now, and they're looking at not only Auburn, but who the head coach is and what he's done with quarterbacks in the past. I want to play for that guy right there. And also, that's who I want to be a quarterback for.
One more thing on Gurner. He's just not in his second system in 2 years. He's in his third system in 3 years. High school, first year. So sometimes it just takes a while to click. We'll see. Maybe it'll never click. Maybe it will. You just never know.
Zach, keep us going, big dog. Good stuff, Brian Davis.
7254. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? Seven 7254.
I must have talked too long.
Yeah, I lost it when I ran it on basketball, man.
All right, we're gonna move on. 88661. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Kevin from Wimmer, Alabama.
What's his name?
Kevin, I think.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah.
What's up, Kevin? What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
I think Robbie Asper be the starting quarterback.
I don't think that's crazy. I mean, I don't think any of us would put who we think. I think we all would put not on the roster. But I mean, if Robbie Asher tries out there, I wouldn't be completely shocked.
No, not at all.
How about did Cam Coleman visit Auburn?
He sure did.
He did.
Big visit, Cole.
How did he like the visit?
Yeah, man. He visited Thursday. I think he was the lone visitor last Thursday. And I actually asked him. It was the first time he came back since the LSU game, which was, I guess that was in what, October?
October.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him, was like, why is it taking you? Has anything held you from coming here? He's like, my schedule's been busy, man. He said, I'm serious. It's really been busy with 7-on-7s, and I believe him because the dude has been lighting it up in every single camp, and that's why he's worked his way to possibly 5-star status. And I think Auburn's top 3. I think he pretty much made that clear. Texas A&M he named, and one other. Maybe it was Alabama.
Florida
LSU?
State, I think. Yeah, it's
Oh.
LSU, Florida State, A&M, and then Bama, Clemson, and Georgia on the outside, kind of.
You got to keep an eye
He
on
actually-
Georgia.
Sure. I think there's other schools that are going to be in the picture because he's not in a hurry at all. This is one of those guys where you're hoping to maybe get something out of him like, oh, yeah, I'm committing in the summer. But he's like, no, I haven't even figured out my
Signing day.
Yeah, he's
Probably.
probably
How
signing day game.
How about Reddit?
Yep.
I like this. Kevin is on top of his recruiting game.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Riddick, Cole, 4-star linebacker that's committed to Georgia. He was in town, I think, Monday of last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monday.
Yep. DeMarcus Riddick, man, that's the guy that I think Auburn is. I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 guys on the board, regardless of position for Auburn. And I think Auburn's right in there with Georgia, who he's committed to, and Alabama. I think it's a 3-team race. I think that's one that you'll have to watch until signing day again. It's not going to be over until signing day, I don't think.
Kevin is
My receiver called Perry Thompson.
Perry Thompson from Foley, yes.
Yeah, Perry Thompson committed to Alabama, another Alabama commit. Talked to him. He made the comment that if he didn't go to Alabama, he'd go to Auburn. It's really Alabama and Auburn. It's between those two, and he's committed to Alabama. So you'd say they have the upper hand. We will see what happens as it goes on.
I'm proud of that Andalusia kid.
Yep.
Oh, Jamariq Burnett.
Yeah, Burnett. Yeah.
Let me say something on Thompson. One thing, I read the quotes that he gives the Auburn writers, and then you'll see that he visits another school and he does quotes too. And he was even more glowing of Alabama later in the week after visiting Auburn. So I don't know. I mean, I know he's going to visit. He's the receiver from Foley. I know he's going to visit Auburn and continue to visit Auburn, but I don't know about you guys. I'm just not getting that great vibe yet. You know what I mean? Not sure.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I was the one that talked to him, and I didn't fully get it either. So, but he says what he says, and he keeps showing up. He actually said he may have been to a basketball game, which was just a trip he took on his own, and which is pretty cool. So, I think he's interested in Auburn. There's no doubt.
If a guy keeps visiting, I don't think that's a terrible thing. But I haven't heard anything in his voice yet to really indicate that. I don't know that a flip's possible yet. We'll see. I'm not saying it's not, but it just doesn't feel like it yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll just keep going.
Where's Jeffrey?
Yeah, we lost him, but we'll take we got a bunch of callers on the line. We'll go to 5.
Take over, Jhead.
Sounds good.
You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Fellas, Anthony from Montgomery.
Anthony, what's going on, brother?
Man.
What's up, man? Hey, I wanted to talk about the quarterbacks from a different aspect. Quick.
Okay.
Do you think that we have the guy in the room from a leadership standpoint of maturity? And I'm asking that because, having a little source on the inside, I heard some things that really turned me off. I never name a kid, but hearing that guys acting like they're alpha male but don't have the stats or the cachet, what I'm trying to say, haven't showed that they should have the attitude that they have at this point in time. So I'm just wondering how you guys think.
So basically, Anthony, you want to know if there's mentally a guy capable to be that leader.
Yes. Because hearing the things that let me say this. Hugh Freeze, it wasn't a coincidence that Hugh Freeze came out and had that whole talk about what team do we want to be as far as the NIL. So I just want to know what you guys think about as far as the maturity level in the quarterback room.
I think, Anthony, I appreciate your call, man. Yeah, it's been a month or two. We're glad to hear you back. But I think Jhead, you're a little smirky, but I think we all kind of hear what Anthony hears too, right? I mean, I can't confirm anything, but I think there's things people are saying. I think it's fair to say. I understand what he's saying. Does Auburn have mentally the leader in the locker room right now to lead this team at quarterback?
I got an answer. I don't know. I don't know if Anthony will like it. Let me just tell you, when I went and played in college, we had 11 quarterbacks on the roster.
Great day.
When I first got there. It's Division III. It's a little different, you know. You eventually cut it down to about 6. But you start with about 11, okay? And from day one, there was one guy that had the mentality was totally different than everybody else. And you just knew it. You felt it. And guess what? He was a starter. I didn't even know who he was. That's just how it goes, right? I'm just going to tell you from going to our practice windows, which Coach Hugh Freeze has let us go out there for about an hour.
Teesh.
TJ Finley is the guy who acts like it, okay? He's the guy that looks more focused than everybody else. He's the guy that he never changes his facial expression during practice. He looks more laser focused than anybody else. I'm not telling you anything about whether he's going to start or not or what his arm looks like or anything. I'm just telling you how he goes about practice.
Whew. Cole, I agree from a mentality and approach standpoint that TJ, typically speaking, has handled himself accordingly. Each year he's been here at Auburn, minus needing to step away from the team last year for that last series of games. I don't think there's any question that TJ Finley is an easy guy to pull for. I don't think there's any question that he typically has been very mature and has been a good teammate. It's all about execution with TJ Finley, and is he ready to ascend and take that next step on the field? And we won't truly know that until we actually see proof of concept of that. I don't think anybody on this panel or any fan is going to believe that TJ Finley is the guy until he goes out there and proves it. You know what I mean? And so, as such, would I say that we have the guy on this team right now? Yes and no. I mean, you have guys that can fill that void. You have guys that have played. You got young guys with talent, but I don't feel ultra confident in any one quarterback that we have on this roster right now that start to finish, he's the guy and the solution to our situation.
Well,
but I'm ready to be proved wrong. And with that, I'll put it to Keith.
Well, I was only going to say, there's some unknown variables here.
Sure.
What if Auburn ends up having a terrific defense and only needs to score 22 points a game? Can one of these three guys be that guy? Absolutely. I think they can make enough plays. The question is, if you've got a kind of a subpar defense or mediocre defense and you got to score 27 or more points, man, then you start to wonder, right? I think we're all Jeff smirking. You just don't know, you don't know. But either way, I think they got Zach's laughing at me. But either way, I think they got Hank Brown coming in, and I think it's a shame he wasn't here for this spring, just to see. Sometimes sometimes that true freshman surprises everybody and beats everybody out. You just never know, right? But I don't think they got it. The room overall needs to be lifted up. And so I don't think there's any, just listening to Hugh Freeze, it's pretty obvious that they're going to be looking.
Yeah.
It's like, if they don't, then they're seeing something that either they're kind of shading it, not keeping it secret, or they're just seeing things that nobody else is seeing. I don't know, but I think we all know where this is. They got to bring somebody at least to lift up the room and develop even more competition. You know what I mean?
Hey, good stuff there, Anthony. Certainly worth conversation. Does that keep us going, big dog?
7254. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Clayton from Kelton, Georgia.
There he is. Oh, Clayton. He called back. He pranked us earlier. Zach. He was the one who hung up on you.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good, Clayton. How about yourself, buddy?
Doing pretty good. I'm calling to ask about the OC and DC, Ron and Phillip, and what y'all are seeing from them on their recruiting trail, because from what y'all are writing in the interviews that y'all are getting with these kids, and y'all got great work. I came over here from 247 whenever Keith came over here. But from reading what y'all are saying, it kind of feels like it's the recruiting's left up to Hugh Freeze and really the position coaches of the kids. And I'm not hearing a lot of talk about Ron and Phillip on the recruiting trail. So I'm calling in to hear about what y'all are seeing and what y'all are getting from y'all's insiders. But y'all have a good night, and War Eagle.
Thanks, Clayton. We appreciate your call, and I do understand. Keith, go ahead, big dog.
I'll be real quick. No, not hearing a ton about Montgomery because he's just really dealing with quarterbacks and then providing air support for everybody else. But I'm going to tell you, we are hearing a lot about Roberts. I think if you go back and you carefully read these stories, is it Dylan Stevenson, the edge in Miami? He's a guy that he's a guy that's mentioned him.
Joseph Phillips.
Waller, Jamonte Waller, the Jack linebacker out of I think he's a Jack out of Mississippi. Yeah, we are hearing a lot about Roberts, not as much about Montgomery, but you're only recruiting one or two quarterbacks, so Roberts is recruiting multiple guys at his position, so that's why I don't know if you guys are hearing the same thing, but I am hearing a lot of Roberts.
Roberts was the guy when they did the big tour. The coaches did the tour around the country and went to see their targets. He was the one that went to Mississippi. So a lot of these Mississippi targets like Waller, maybe Tristan Jernigan, who just recently got offered, they're the ones here. I mean, they're hearing from Ron Roberts a good bit. So, yeah, I haven't heard as much on Phillip Montgomery, but we know he was pretty big with Walker White. So,
yeah,
that's the area, right?
And that's typical, I would say. I think Keith would agree with me, especially the offensive coordinator. They're not going to be as hands-on when it comes to recruiting. I think except their position that goes for Ron Roberts too. When you talk to the Jacks, the Jack linebacker targets, they all mention Ron Roberts. Joe Phillips talked about coming in, and he was with Ron Roberts the entire time. So his position is there are more guys to recruit at the Jack position. It's a huge need for Auburn in this 2024 class. So you're probably going to see his name mentioned when it's the Jack position, and of course Walker White, the quarterbacks. When you talk to, they're going to talk about Phillip Montgomery. He obviously doesn't have as many targets out there as Ron Roberts. But I do hear you, Clayton. I do. And you know what? And it might be us. It might be us too, because when we're interviewing, we don't have much time with these kids. We don't want to keep them along so they don't want to talk to us ever again. But we want to hear about their relationship with their position coach, because ultimately that's what the biggest deal is. That's the relationship with their position coach and the head coach. And we obviously we can sit there and talk to them about the coordinators and all that, but those two are the most important when it comes to relationships: their position coach and the head coach, and not even really the area recruiter anymore. It's more the position coach. These guys are signaling in on their own guys, and they're recruiting their own guys for their own position. But yeah, Ron Roberts has been mentioned a lot of time. And if you ever get to meet the guy, he's a pretty cool guy. You can tell he's pretty personable.
I tell you what, Jeffrey, and we'll keep rolling. But if he's anything like he is at practice, I've seen him bring Keontae Scott, DJ James. I've seen him bring these guys into his Jack linebacker drills to make sure that they're good enough to walk up and blitz if they need to. The dude's hands, and he talks to everybody on his defense like they're his own position group. But he does coach the Jack position group by himself. He's the guy that coaches the Jacks.
Okay. But to answer one of the questions from this caller, we are hearing their names a lot more than the last two coordinators, quite frankly.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, I personally liked Schmedding, but we didn't hear his name much. A little bit. Keysal, we heard from one guy, basically. That's about it.
Brock Glenn, I believe, was
Brock Glenn.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now, in our 2024 quarterback commit for all the 5 minutes that he was on the
he was
the roster. Yeah,
Adrian Posse. Yeah,
there you go.
Ooh, let's move along, Clayton. Good stuff, though, Clayton. Zach, keep us going, big dog.
6848. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how about it, man? This is Bryce from Beulah.
Oh, how about you, Bryce from Beulah?
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I wanted to call in and talk a little in-state recruiting, if y'all don't mind.
Oh, I love it.
All right, so, I'm kind of looking at these three big position groups that we're kind of targeting, wide receiver, jack, and linebacker. Mm-hmm. And just looking in-state, you got the Perry Thompson, Mario Craver, you got Cam Coleman right there. We're in it with all of those guys. I know said that you didn't know necessarily Perry Thompson a little earlier, but we're at least in it.
Sure.
And you look at the linebackers, we got Barber, Riddick, Dixon down there, Joe Phillips. So the point being is, I know
I guess I'd like to hear from Jhead, just kind of in the fan perspective, and then also you guys kind of from the recruiting side of it. I was brought home to a dirt road over there in Lee County. Second one past the Long Bridge out there in Beulah, man. Like at the end of the year, when it gets late November and that Iron Bowl, it just means more for these guys. The Marlon Davidsons and the Kerryon Johnsons and even Bo Nix. I mean, he may wind up in New York here later this year or somewhere, but I bet when he hangs them up, one of the biggest moments of his football life is going to be taking a knee inside Jordan Hare against Nick Saban. So just kind of what are y'all seeing from, Freeze kind of targeting these in-state guys and making it a point to have Alabama kids like on this roster? Thanks, guys.
Hey, good stuff, Bryce. Jhead.
Love what you're seeing from an in-state standpoint right now. He's prioritized the state of Alabama in a way that probably we haven't seen in the last 4 or 5 recruiting cycles, if I'm being completely honest. And I'm not trying to bag Gus when I say that, and I'm not trying to, to be derogatory towards Brian Harsin and his staff. But the emphasis on in-state recruiting is back in a big way. They have a set board of probably 20 to 25 in-state prospects that they've really honed in on. You've already seen that in commitments. Now, obviously, Amon Lane was with the previous staff, but Zach Etheridge was his lead recruiter and is still being retained. And then the next, 2 of your next 3 commitments are in-state guys. Jaden Lewis, who's a multi-positional defensive back. And in the NIL world, being a multi-positional player where you're investing your money is a big, big thing. And then obviously Jamariq Burnett, who's a big bruising running back that we need for short yardage and goal line situations. But beyond them, I mean, you name the guys in Riddick, Coleman, the Clay Chalkful kids, every one of those guys. Yeah, Phillips. Every one of those guys are big targets. They've been prioritized. They've been on campus already multiple times to this point. Multiple. And I can't tell you how important that is because we know that there's a huge look, NIL is NIL, but recruiting is still largely relational, right? That is still the biggest part of it. And the more you get a kid on campus and he gets a relation with the coaching staff, not just with the staff, but with the university and the football team itself, those relationships are important. So major emphasis on in-state recruiting, major emphasis on regional recruiting, along with the states of Georgia and Mississippi that we haven't seen in previous years. So really encouraged from a fan standpoint and what little bit of intel I've gotten with how they've gone about it, the kids they've prioritized, and typically just recruiting in general, the emphasis that they're putting on it each and every day. And that's from the top down. And that's what we've talked about for the last 2 years, having a top-down recruiter at head coach and what a difference that makes in your program.
I'm going to be very we talked about this, I think, last week. Maybe it was on a different show, but looking at the top 20 recruits, I say 25 because I think Amon Lane's 22, and there's some guys in higher than him that Auburn's really not in on. But you take 20 of the top 20 guys in the state of Alabama that Auburn wants. So you take out Kavion Henderson and you take off a couple of these quarterbacks that Auburn's really not recruiting, and then you insert some of these DBs that they want, this linebacker D'Angelo Barber that they want. You take the top 20 guys in the state of Alabama that Auburn wants, and I'm going to be very curious to see how many of those guys. And what do you think, Keith? What's the percentage of those 20 guys in the state of Alabama that Auburn wants, actively pursuing, Auburn needs to get? Would you say 50?
Yeah, didn't Auburn sign 3 out of the top 20 last year, I want to say? It wasn't high. Let me look that up because I just did the story on where the top guys in the state of Alabama stand the other day. And, I think if you could get 5 or more, you're probably going to be in good shape because, they're recruiting Georgia heavily. They're recruiting Mississippi heavily where they have 14 offers out. They're recruiting Florida pretty heavily. So I don't think you need to get – I mean, look, more the better. Yeah, don't get me wrong. But I think you'd be all right if you just want to – you got 3 out of the top 22 right now. So, I mean, again, I think that's it's headed in the right direction. Let's put it that way.
And I think the way I was looking at it is 3 of the top 22 right now, and then you take out 2 guys in the top 20 that Auburn's not pursuing, and then put 2 guys. So the top 20 players, Auburn's got 3 of them right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Cam Coleman's number 5, Riddick's 4, Jordan Ross 3, Perry Thompson 2, Mbakwe 1, the corner, Beeman 6, Sterling Dixon 7, Kevin Riley 8, Bradley Shaw 9, Travaris Banks 10. So Again, we don't know where that bank sits on their board. Now, I think, let's see, so 3 out of the top 22 now. You think they're going to get Joseph Phillips? So that would give you 4. Okay, I'm gonna up my number. I'm gonna say 6 or more would be pretty good. 6 or more would be pretty good. Jhead, no?
I agree that 6 or more would be great because you only got 2 last year out of the top 20.
Oh, I thought it was 3. Was it 3 out of the top 25? Is that what it was?
I think it was 3 out of the top 25 because Braden Joyner was towards the back end. I think he was just over 20, if I remember correctly.
We're already at 3 out of the top 25 right now, and it's March. Whatever.
Right. So I think 6 to 7, it really is kind of your sweet spot. And look, what you want more than anything, you're going to lose your fair share to Alabama. Okay, that's just going to happen for an in-state kid. But can we prohibit teams like Clemson and Tennessee and Georgia coming in and taking kids? Now, look, Georgia just won 2 national championships back-to-back. There's no shame in losing a recruiting battle to Georgia. But if we're ever going to crawl out of the situation we find ourselves in, it starts with putting a little bit of a fence around the state and keeping those programs you compete against each and every year out of your back pocket. Okay? You got to win those matchups. It is what it is with Alabama, but you got to win those.
Phillips would give you 4 if he's going to do something early summer. Cam Coleman would be a big one. Kevin Riley's an interesting one because now Auburn's probably going to take one more back. I don't think Bama has any running backs committed, correct?
No.
Bama very much in it with Daniel Hill. We got a bunch of callers. So Bama can't take every running back. So Kevin Riley, that's the guy I'm watching closely. So I think 6 or more would be a good number, but I could see 8 or 9, quite frankly.
I hear you. Keep us going, Zach. Good stuff there, Bryce. I can make a whole show out of that.
2-4. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from? Three 6-2-4. You're live.
3624. Sounds like somebody's pen. 3624. Call us back, big dog.
Yeah, we'll move on. 0123. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
No, that's definitely a pen. 0123.
Hey, it's Kelly from Beaufort, Georgia.
What's up, Kelly?
Hey, I told you I was going to call.
You sure did. Woman of her word.
I like it.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, I want to talk a little bit about recruiting budgets. I'm over here seeing Kirby fly around in his helicopters, and kind of what do y'all see in the next couple of years, to give Freeze to step it up even more? What do y'all think? I mean, what Kirby spent saving $4 or $5 million or something?
I bet you Jhead.
I think from a spending standpoint, it's really contingent on where you're recruiting certain prospects. Now, I don't think there's going to be any expense spared, Kelly, with regard to what is it going to take to land a recruit to impress their family on an official visit to get Hugh Freeze wherever it is that he needs to be. Now, I don't know that we've got a swag copter just yet, but I assure you if Hugh Freeze wants one, he'll have the opportunity to get it. They're not going to deny him for somebody who's as dedicated to recruiting as he is and somebody that has aligned himself with the boosters the way that he has. He's not going to be denied the opportunity that he thinks he needs to get the edge in a certain recruitment. I feel certain on that. Now, is the total dollar amount going to match? Well, no, because that goes into official visits. You're bringing in kids from different parts of the country. It really depends on where we're going to focus. And right now, it seems like the focus is very regional. Now, I'm not saying we're not going to be going national, but it's very regional right now with Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida kind of taking center stage with a handful of prospects also coming out of the Carolina areas. So as you see us go more national, Kelly, I think you'll see that number start to increase from an overall budget standpoint. But in the interim, I don't think you're going to have an issue with Hugh Freeze getting money appropriated to a recruiting budget to do what he needs to do to communicate and or go see various prospects.
And you know what, Kelly, that lines up with everybody being on the same page and supporting this hire of Hugh Freeze. You hear people talk about that with Alan Green and Brian Harsin. People were unwilling or a little hesitant to fully support that guy. We saw the cutbacks under Allen Green. I mean, we had basketball teams taking buses to Mississippi. The budget was way down back then. I don't think there was a lot of support. I think now when you hear people talk about everybody being on the same page, that's what it means. Everybody's willing to contribute to make this the best football program they can be. And I think that's why Hugh Freeze was a really good hire, because the guys that mattered, the guys with the money, that's who they wanted. And that's why I came out early and was like, I think it's Hugh Freeze until it's not. And don't get me wrong, I think that Lane Kiffin, all he had to do was say, yay, I'm in.
Right.
But obviously that didn't happen. But I'm with Jhead, Kelly. I think having Hugh Freeze is a big deal to these money guys. I don't think there will be wants from Hugh Freeze that he is denied, especially when it comes to recruiting, especially when you see how hard this guy's working. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to see. And I think I mentioned to you, I'm glad to see some Buford kids coming over for visits, which hadn't happened. I went to a few of their games this last season. You got Ryan Day on the sidelines, of course, Kirby and all the Saban folks, because they got that Justice Haynes, Veron. To Alabama.
Big time player.
That's really good to see them. And the Parkview kids, I think I mentioned I'm a Parkview alum, so it's good to see those two kids interested. So, exciting times. So I'm ready.
Kelly, I would say the Parkview duo, I think Cole and I both agree, Jalen Crawford and Antonio White, I believe, is his buddy. I know Mike Matthews is there too, but I feel Jalen Crawford and then Antonio White. Shit, man, if I had to put in a prediction today, and I probably could, I think both of those guys end up at Auburn.
Yeah, I do too.
Good stuff, Kelly.
I got one question for you. So I want all of y'all to pick, if you could pick one flip, your wish list for one flip, and I'll hang up.
Wish list or things that we think will happen?
You can only pick one to flip.
Oh,
wish list. Yeah. The one we would want to flip, I think, is what.
Okay. Being
each of us, everybody can have their own independent. DeMarcus Riddick for me, hands down, a position of need. DeMarcus Riddick for me.
Okay.
Hey, I got you, big dog. I'm taking Ryan Williams.
I was going.
Oh, damn it, man! I didn't even think about 2025.
I wasn't thinking. It hit my mind. I was like, receiver. Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah, I went through Perry Thompson, but I got to Ryan Williams because I think
I'll wait till next year for that one. But for right now, to me, the bigger priority, knowing the Freeze offense, is Landon Thomas, the tight end.
Oh, good one, Keith.
Do I think Auburn's going to get him? Now, I've heard something. I don't think Mike Bobo's recruiting South Georgia for the Dogs these days. I think that's now Glenn Schumann territory. But Glenn Schumann's turned out to be a hell of a recruiter too. But I think that's going to be a very difficult flip. But if dream pick Landon Thomas, knowing what these guys do with tight ends, catching tight ends. Excuse me.
Is did Kelly go?
Yeah.
Kelly, tweet to me what your pick is. I should have asked. How rude of me. I'd be curious to know what your. I'll put it in the chat. All right, Zach, keep us going. Good stuff, Kelly. Fantastic question. Please call us back. You're a little bit too smart for us, but we'll ask you to dumb it down for us next time.
5960. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, my fellas?
Yay, there he is.
How y'all guys doing tonight?
Big
What's
Edward.
up, Edward? Yeah, man.
That's me, man. Out here watching the lightning strike, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Edward.
Oh, Auburn Live. Y'all ain't doing no hiring, man. Y'all ain't got enough people to keep up with what Hugh Freeze doing.
It's tough, big dog.
Y'all need to bring me on board.
You'll be our Selma correspondent.
Yeah.
Hey, I got some. No, I can't say it. I can't say that live. Ain't looking real good for Hugh I know a lot of people, man. I know some people. I'm connected, really connected.
I believe
ain't
it.
Looking real good for Hugh on this recruiting trail, man. Some of these guys, I just say that he came in late and jumped on. I ain't calling nobody name, but came in late
and it's really looking good for him for this certain person. I say it like that. Kind of.
So he wasn't tardy. Like, hey, I was supposed to be there at 1, and I came in at 1:45. You're saying he came in late in the recruitment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It came in late in guy that Harsin overlooked that he really came in and he making a big push for these guys, man. I'm hearing good things. I tell you, like T.O. said, man, get your popcorn ready, man. It's gonna be a show. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a show. It's gonna be a shocker. It's gonna be a shocker. It's about to be a shocker.
Hey, Edward,
it's gonna be a shocker.
We appreciate.
I look for Auburn to be top 8 recruits at least. That's the bottom. That's the flow for what I'm looking for. 24. He'll have that at least, maybe top 5.
All right.
Edward, we appreciate you signing up to Auburn Live on 3. How you liking it so far, big dog?
Oh, man, I love Auburn Live, man. Anytime I ain't on the train, all tonight. So anytime I ain't on there, I'm on there watching. But my guys that I named to you the other week, and I gave you 4 names that I look for to break out. 2 of them coming along. I said Kobe Wooden and J.D. Rim. J.D. Rim hurt. It's Kobe Wooden. He's progressing good at the safety. And offense, I told you 2 guys, Jay Fair and Michael Riley Ducker.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when Coach Ben did an interview the other day and that boy named Michael Riley Ducker's name came up, I seen a look in his eyes, man. The guy gonna be a star. I know everybody hype on the Fairweather train, and rightfully so. Fairweather's a stud. But Michael Riley Ducker gonna get some touches this year, man. The guy's a stud now. He the one, really. He the one. And Coach
Your intel matches mine, Edward, on that.
I agree with you, Edward.
Yep.
If they don't, you got to lease me that hunting land.
Man, we ain't gonna even. Hey, this the deal with you. We cannot talk about hunting because I gave this man the right to come hunt. And hey, I told you, I get my number. I'm gonna give you my number. You can come hunting. So from now on, J. Lee is not allowed.
Get him, Edward. Get him.
August or next year to bring him in and let him look. But from now to August, to not mention hunting. See, August, I might let you come in and scout the land out, let you put your feet in where you want to put it at and all that type of stuff. But until then, don't mention hunting.
That's fair. That's fair. August, I'm doing some scouting. I'm coming to Selma.
Yeah, see, I know that, man. The people love that one, man. I didn't know I'm a rock star everywhere I go, man. The people that one from Selma, I'm becoming a rock star on y'all show, man.
You'll see me when the rut comes in, Edward. I promise you.
Man, I'm good for business. I keep the ratings up, J. I keep the ratings up, man. I put asses in the seat, like they say, man. I sell out, man. I'm a rock star. I'm gonna have a good night, man. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate you, Edward.
Good stuff.
Appreciate it, man. Good stuff. Edward from Selma signed up with Auburn Live on 3. Came in with some intel of his own. I think he was a 2026 kid. He's like, hey, put this guy on your radar, man.
I was thinking of Edward when I was talking to Ben Egamawa and he talked about Michael Riley Ducker. I put that story together.
Yeah.
About it. No.
All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog.
3624. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Oh, he's back.
Maybe.
3624. You're live.
Hey guys, this is Chappie from Gadsden, Alabama.
What's up, Chappie?
I called probably a couple months ago. You guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We already missed you earlier, man.
All right. Well, it was me. I was connected to Bluetooth in my car, and when I got out, evidently I lost y'all there. But
it happens. I hear you.
Anyways, recruiting is going to be what recruiting is. I don't believe it until the letter of intent comes in. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Who was that guy that got the Auburn tattoo on his arm?
Reuben Foster.
Alabama.
Oh, Pinkston?
About 10 years ago. Who was that?
Reuben Foster.
Oh, Reuben Foster. Yeah. No, anyways, guys, I just appreciate you guys and all the intel you give us. I see Zach over there shaking his head. I don't know what for, but
he was thinking about Reuben Foster.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Auburn Live, man, I've been subscribed to y'all. I look at nothing but y'all's content. You guys do a wonderful job. And anyways, on the offensive scheme
Mm-hmm.
and the quarterbacks, okay. If you're picking a favorite, what would be your each individual pick right now out of the gate for what you know? What would you guys pick for the starting quarterback? And then I'll get off here and let y'all answer. But I appreciate you.
Hey, Chappie, good call, big dog. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate your loyalty to the site. And good question. Our prediction, is that what he said? Prediction for starting quarterback?
Given what you have right now, not what we could accrue in the transfer portal, but what we got on the roster right now.
You mean 1 through 3?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll make it quick. Does anybody want to go first?
Yeah, I'll just say, if it's just these guys, I'd still say Robbie.
I'm with Keith. I think it's Robbie because of the duality he brings to position, having the potential to affect it with his legs as well as with his arm. And if they're able to change some of his decision making or basically scheme it open a little bit better for him on a first read, then I like the ability that Robbie can put a defense in conflict with his legs and his arm. So I think you got to go with him as of right now, even though what you hear so far is that TJ has been the best leader and presented himself and has made good throws in practice.
I think it's a battle for the backup. I think the winner of this competition is the favorite going in to be the number 2. I just can't believe that either of these 3 guys are going to be the starting quarterback come September. With that said, I would say TJ.
I think,
and 2A, 2B, Robbie and Holden.
Yeah, I think everything that I know from this spring, I would say TJ. I don't know. You also have the element that Robbie can make plays, but something tells me that Freeze and Montgomery and these guys, they don't want their plays to break down like that. They're not looking for that. They want somebody who's going to control that part of it.
I don't disagree, Cole. To me, it just goes back to decision making and what I saw with TJ last year. Even when you're playing teams like Mercer, just throwing interceptions that I mean, realistically, there wasn't even a receiver in the area, and I don't even know where his eyes were at the time. I don't see Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery being patient with a quarterback that's going to be mistake prone. Now, I wouldn't say that Robbie made great decisions either, but if you're having to pick between the two, I'm going to pick the guy that can add something with his feet.
Well, Zach in the comments, not Zach McKinnell, if y'all are reading the comments, makes an interesting point about Finley. You got two tackles now from the transfer portal. Gunnar Britton at right, Dylan Wade at left. Does the pass protection get better? If so, does that allow TJ Finley to be better? I think it's fair.
Can it get worse? I think is the real question.
Yeah, I think it goes hand in hand.
Yep.
Theoretically, if he's got better protection and he's put in better situations and is a little bit easier for him, then maybe those situations. I think we all agree that the starting quarterback is not on the roster right now.
Whoever the quarterback is, they need to be in some better situations. There's no doubt.
All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog. We got some more.
Yeah, we got 4 more.
Well, great day.
4003. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Carter Malden from Brookhaven, Georgia. I hope y'all hadn't already talked about this, but I've been trying to dig deep and figure out the whole Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley situation. I know Kevin Riley's going to be tough to pull in from T-Town, and Daniel Hill we got Ole Miss to flirt with and Alabama, and I just wanted to see from y'all's intel where y'all think who which of those y'all think we might end up with or have the best chance with at least.
Good stuff, Carter. We appreciate the call, man. Keith, this is right up your alley, big dog.
I guess. I mean, yeah. Okay. So
you know more than we do.
Well, you're trying to look at the big picture. All right. So Auburn's got one on the board. Ole Miss just got a guy on the board, correct?
Yep.
Chris
Davis sure did.
Bama does not have any on the board, but Hill's at Meridian. And I know Bama, I've been to that school a lot of times. Bama's had a lot of success there.
It's like an hour east of Meridian.
Yeah. Hour east of Meridian. Tuscaloosa is an hour east, correct. Now, Daniel Hill is going to visit Auburn on the 8th, April 8th, so he'll be there for A-Day. I believe that's going to be his first visit this year. And we don't have him logged for ever having visited Auburn. So if he's been to Auburn, we don't know about it. So, but the competition's really stiff for him, right? So Ole Miss is second back. They're coming off a season where I think they led the SEC in rushing. And then you got that Bama there. Now, what we don't know is so I think he's probably the less likely of these guys. We don't know what Bama's overall situation is. I'd say if Ole Miss gets Hill, that's probably not good for Auburn with Riley, right? Because right now, what the last we heard was Bama wasn't pushing super hard yet for Riley. Mm-hmm. Now, they like him. They've offered him, but they haven't pushed super hard yet. If they do, then it becomes problematic. So I guess if you're Auburn, the Hail Mary would be – I don't know. Hail Mary is a little strong. But if you could get Hill, sure, you take him. But if you don't get Hill, you probably want him to go to Bama.
Yeah.
And they only have one spot remaining, and they're recruiting nationally. And do they take Riley, or do they try to get some bigger fish out there and then Riley – I hate to say fall, but the guy's in Tuscaloosa, for God's sakes. So that's my take on the situation. Of the two, I like Auburn's chances better with Riley. I'll leave it to you guys now.
That's about as –
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting because, like you just said, Daniel Hill chooses Alabama, like we think could happen. Riley's kind of floating out there, and maybe he takes offense to that. Like, hey, I'm sitting right here. It's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
Well, if they don't get one of those guys, they've still got the kid in the southern part of the state that all you guys love too. It's not like it'd be dire, right?
Yeah, right.
You know what? And while you were talking, Keith, my guess right now, and this is just freaking pulling it out of my butt here.
Yeah.
I think the second quarterback is not either one of those two guys. I think it's the field. It's going to end up.
The second running back?
Yes, I'm sorry. Second running back for Auburn will not be either one of those two guys. It'll be.
You may be right.
Somebody else.
I think of the two, a better shot with Riley. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why we get Ronnie Royal, right?
Mm-hmm. Or somebody like that, or Brandon Hood, or I don't know. I just don't see. Kevin Riley, has he visited yet this spring?
Yeah,
No.
he's scheduled to come in for A-Day. He'll be, and then he's got another 3-day visit allegedly on the book sometime May, June-ish, I believe.
Okay.
That's just a position I don't really worry about too much. You got Burnett committed. You got a stud Jeremiah Cobb in last year's class. He'll enroll this summer. You got Alston the year before that. You got Hunter if he has a good year that you could depart. But I just feel like Auburn's going to get one guy and then two guys the next year and then one and then two. I mean, I don't feel like it's going to be a problem. I really don't. I mean, are these guys they really like? Oh, sure. But I think the guys even below them on the board are not far below them. And
guys, I must be the crazy one in this group. And maybe it's because I'm the fan correspondent here. But I like our odds with Kevin Riley right now. I honestly do. And you're right, Keith, that if Alabama puts the screws in, it's going to be hard for us to get that kid.
Well, harder.
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to happen. I honestly believe they have other targets higher on the board. From what I can tell, we are really working hard on Kevin Riley right now. They are building a fantastic relationship with him. I believe they are recruiting him harder than anybody else is recruiting him right now. Now, does all that change if Alabama decides it wants him? Sure, it does. But I think we're going to get some Seth Williams action, you guys. I think this is a situation that's going to fall into our lap a little bit, that Bama's going to have other guys higher on the list, or at least that's the T reads I'm leading right now. And I like our position. And I think he's the kind of kid, if he commits to Auburn, if you can get him in the boat now, say by, the big commitment months of June, July, August, if you can get him in then, I don't see the kid flipping. I don't think he's that kind of kid, or at least that's my take so far. So how do we do going into the summer with him? Do you have a really big 3-day unofficial visit with him that gets him really thinking about Auburn? I think it's possible. I really do like our footing right now with Kevin Robb.
All right.
Dynamic here. One more thing. Alabama's known for having these ultra competitive camps in the summer months. I guess it would be June. July's dead. All right. Does he camp there? And if so, what happens? Does he? Because there's been Amari Cooper way up went from to the top. So you want that's just something to keep an eye on too, to see if he goes there to camp. Might not be a great sign for Auburn.
Yeah.
Because that means because Bama's notorious for, not notorious, but they're big on, like with Burnett. Burnett had a Bama offer. Now, could he have committed? I don't believe so. I think the offer was, hey, come to camp, and then it becomes, where do you fit on the board after that? Doesn't mean they didn't like him. They sure did like him, but not to that level just yet. So I think that's kind of their separator. That's been one of their separators, quite frankly.
Sure.
National competitive camps,
I want to add real quick to your theory there, and then we'll get to the caller. Daniel, I've looked around at these running backs in the country. I don't see a better one than Daniel Hill.
No, I don't disagree.
That dude's top 2 or 3 running backs in the country, and we know Alabama recruits nationally. If they have honed in on this guy, like I think it's possible they could have, they'll probably get him. And if that's the case, do they take another running back? They just got 2 5-stars last cycle. Riley's gonna. I really think I'm with you on the Riley thing. I think there's a chance. I really do.
Yep, I agree, Cole.
We'll see. I want to see him on campus. I want to talk to him. That keep us going, big dog.
5-stars.
0506. You're live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's old Hogbone. How y'all doing tonight?
Hogbone, 84.
Yeah, man. Hey, listen, I got a question for y'all, and I've been wondering this for a while, but when a kid commits and then they say, well, will he decommit and will he commit to us? Well, is there some kind of protocol that's in the SEC? Is that an NCAA rule or what's the deal with that? Because you hear that a lot, and I just wonder. Because I remember back several years ago, there were kids that were known to commit to more than 1 or 2 schools. I mean, that's happened before. So I wondered if they made some kind of rule arrangement or a gentleman's agreement in the SEC or something of that nature. That's just always been a question mark for me.
Commitment doesn't mean anything, Hogbone. It doesn't anymore. Now, it does in basketball. Now, basketball, I kind of like basketball. I've even talked to some coaches off the record, and they're like, man, listen, once the kid commits, we all have this little unwritten rule that we're done. We're off of them. Unless that kid initiates contact, we're done with him. So if this kid commits to, Jacksonville State and Auburn's been recruiting him, Auburn's off of him. And it's not a law. It's not a rule. It's just something that's understanding. If a kid commits to Auburn, Kentucky's backing off. They're not talking to the kid anymore. They're done with it. And it's crazy because I cover football so much, and we've said on here many, many times, commitment means that this team is my leader right now. It might change next week. Commitment doesn't mean anything. Commitment means you better recruit me harder, other schools, because right now I'm leaning towards Alabama. You better recruit me harder right now, other schools, because right now I'm leaning towards Auburn. Commitment doesn't mean anything. Other than that's my leader. Maybe quarterbacks.
More than anything in today's recruiting, it probably means, hey, I'm claiming my spot with you guys.
Yeah.
Right. I got to claim my spot. I have to do it. You've made it clear to me that spot may not be there. I'm going to commit so I can make sure I get that spot in this class.
And the coaches use that as well. Hey, man, you better get in now because we don't know what's going to happen in a month from now. If somebody else comes in and wants the spot, you may not have the spot. Okay, well, I'm going to get that spot, but I'm still going to take other visits. Okay, that's cool. Right. These coaches want these kids committed. It's a lot easier to sign a commitment than it is to sign a Georgia commitment or try to get somebody else. It's a lot easier to hold on to a commitment than it is to get somebody in the boat.
Sure.
But hell good. That was good stuff, Hogbone. We appreciate it, man. That needed to be talked about. Probably needs to be every couple months.
Yeah.
listen, can with the rules like they are, can they practice with somebody else in the summer, or is that something that just can't be done nowadays? And I'm gonna get off and let y'all have it.
Okay, hey, Hogmon, before you go, are you talking about high school kids practicing with other high school teams?
Well, I'm just saying, like, in the shape Auburn's is in, that quarterback needs to go live. I mean, we ain't gonna get until the kids go live and see what they're gonna do. If they're gonna start throwing that interception stuff again. And my question was, like in the pros, they're sort of in preseason. The rules are totally different. They're working for a living, but is there any room for them to say play? I don't know, a semi-pro team, another smaller school, or something of that nature.
Yeah, they can't do anything like that. They can work with trainers, they're private individual workouts. I know a lot of these kids, like Brad Lester, he trains a lot of these. He trained Tank Bigsby during the summer. A lot of the college football players have a personal trainer in the off season that works them out. But as far as competing with another team, absolutely not. You can't do that. But good stuff, Hogmon.
Lightning's getting to us over here.
Yeah. It's already knocked me off once, man. We're going to try to finish it up, though. Appreciate you, Hogmon. So how many we got?
3 more.
Okay.
3365. You live. Who we talking to? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Bo from Moody.
Bo from Moody.
How y'all doing, brothers?
Fantastic, Bo. How about yourself?
I'm all right. I got two things I want to say. That was traitors to us that went to Bama. It was Reuben Foster and T.J. Yeldon. And wasn't they both committed to us the night before signing day?
Let's don't forget Brent Callaway.
Ooh, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yelp flip in this during that cycle, and then Foster was closer to signing day, if I remember correctly.
So, all right. So Yeldon he flipped the day before the dead period. Like the coaches could not get him back on campus. Mm-hmm. So he flipped the next day of the dead period. Foster decommitted after Trooper Taylor was let go and was not retained by Gus Malzahn. I mean, I think everybody in the country knew that kid was completely tied to Trooper Taylor, and the second he was no longer at Auburn, what direction that was going.
All right, did y'all the flips that's coming from Bama this year? What are their names again?
Several.
You got Perry Thompson, the wide receiver. Probably, I mean, Jalen Mbakwe visited Auburn last week. I guess he says he's coming back.
Right.
Other than that, in the 2024 class, Sterling Dixon, there you go, linebacker from Mobile.
Yep.
I think those are your main three.
Out right there. I think he's going to be the first one that flips. Sure do.
I tell you what,
all right, man. I appreciate y'all. God bless. War Eagle.
Appreciate you, Bo. Always a pleasure, man. I thought Auburn had a better shot with Sterling Dixon early, but last year's Auburn just turned a lot of these kids away. As Ryan Williams told me, the last staff made it really easy for him to choose Alabama. And you go back to last summer, and all these kids committed to Alabama: Perry Thompson, Ryan Williams, Sterling Dixon, and it was under really no contest from Auburn as far as they were concerned. Zach, keep us going, big dog. Good stuff, Bo. Appreciate you, big dog.
9462. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, this is Drew calling in from Auburn.
What's up, Drew?
All right, Drew.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just wanted to say like two things here. So first, I've just been hearing a lot of people say like the starting quarterback isn't on the roster right now. So who do you think that could be? I haven't really heard anybody like dive into who that could be. No, it can't be an SEC guy, obviously, but are there any other names? I've been hearing like Grayson McCall probably isn't going to happen. I don't know whether that's like grades or whatever, but looking like that's not going to happen. But I think if we can get a quarterback that can just provide like solid to good quarterback play, I think this team can win 9 or 10 games next year. So just wanted to see what y'all thought about that, and any quarterback targets you think could come in the portal. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, thanks for the call, Drew. Potential quarterback, that's the thing. We really don't know, and we're not supposed to anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go.
Drew, as an Auburn fan, you hope that we don't know. And if we do, you hope that we act like we don't know. Right?
Well put, Jeffrey.
Right.
Well put.
So
some guys maybe to watch. I mean, do you think without
vaguely, Keith was saying it earlier. Yeah, vaguely starting quarterbacks at smaller schools. Back up.
Yep, sorry.
No, keep you going. That's what's your stuff, Keith.
Teamers at high level programs where you're behind a guy that's an All-American or an All-SEC or an All-Big 12 or an All-Big 10. A guy just hadn't got a shot because of who he's behind. I mean, that happened to Joe Burrow, sort of, right? And and then maybe you look, where were their coaching changes? Where were their coaching changes? Is this guy not fitting with that staff? Or whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah. I'm here. I've heard different things on McCall. Somebody told me the other day, they said there's no way he could get it done. But Jeffrey, you've been all over that. That's not my area of expertise.
But that's perfectly put, Keith, is that we don't know the names, but if it's us and we're looking for potential guys, we're looking at the Jacksonville State first team All-American quarterback, or the Grayson McCall type guys that are having extreme success at smaller schools who may want to be up in their game, looking for another place to play. Or as Keith said, the 5-star quarterback that signed with Florida State last year that's not hitting it off with
you go to Purdue, let's say, to play for Jeff Brom, and Jeff Brom leaves, and you're not clicking with the new guy. I'm not even saying. I'm just throwing
right.
As an example.
These are the type of guys that we would be on the lookout for.
Or just bad break. You fall behind a guy that ends up being a complete stud, or there's also writing on the wall guys. In other words, they're in line to be the next starter, technically or theoretically, but the new coach just signed his guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, okay, you're looking over your shoulder and you're saying, well, I'm here and he's here, but man, I mean, because coaches love their guys. We all know that. So again, that's really the only way to do it. Now, behind the scenes, I will tell you that parents are making calls. It's really parents more than anybody, quite frankly. The people around the quarterbacks. Quarterbacks don't usually have the handler types. They don't like Uncle Fred, and that's more for other positions. With quarterbacks, Jeffrey's smiling. It's usually the parents that are super involved. Okay, and so they're putting feelers out. They may call people in the media. Hey, what's it looking like at this school? How these guys looking? That kind of thing. The staff then will catch wind. Any good staff will catch wind of guys that they're hearing
right
are open to leaving. Okay. And then from there, you don't want to know, we all eat sausage patties from McDonald's. We just don't want to know how they make it. You know what I mean? So, but no, seriously, it's going to be a lot of that. But, kids and their parents are smart. They do this homework in high school too, by the way.
Sure.
They did Auburn sign last year. Well, they signed 2. Well, boy, I don't like those odds. So they're they got their lists of pros and cons and conference and coaches, coaching success. And so if you're Auburn, you're thinking wide open quarterback battle. That's a pro for a transfer. That's why one reason Grayson McCall was probably looking at Auburn. 2, you got Hugh Freeze, Kent Austin, Philip Montgomery, and we're not even talking about Jesse Stone, the analyst, but those guys tell you that this is a school that's serious about QBs and QB development. And so that's another eye opener. So to me, those are things that make you believe they would have a shot at any significant player that goes to the portal. And by the way, Grayson McCall and the kid that signed with Kentucky, the NC State transfer, McCall was ready to visit Auburn until he wasn't allowed to, basically. And Leary did visit Auburn. So they were right in it with the 2 main guys. And I don't think that's going to change. I think whoever the top guys are that enter this spring, if Auburn's interested, they're going to be right in that zone with those guys. That's my take on it.
Well, I real quick, I go right back to what Walker White told you and I, Jeffrey, on Inside the 20 the other day. as high profile as a kid as he was, one of his first offers was Tulsa, which was Philip Montgomery. And he remembered it. And he said, that guy was somebody that stood out to me. And I considered Tulsa while he was there. And now he's at Auburn, and it was the perfect marriage for him, right?
Yeah,
well,
made it easy.
Somebody else is out there that Philip Montgomery was in on early like that. And speaking of Joe Burrow, Keith, I'm pretty sure Ohio State's got like 3 5-star quarterbacks that are all around the same age, fixing to battle it out, and somebody's going to lose.
Here are some schools with some pretty big name backups: Georgia, Ohio State, Southern Cal. There's some good ones out there, right? You saw what happened.
Tennessee, Texas. Yep.
You saw what happened at LSU with Walker Howard. He was like, "Forget this, man. I'm out of here." You know.
Yeah.
So,
right. Muted Jhead.
I think Georgia's the only one on that list that wouldn't be able to be a reality at this point with the interconference transfer. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a ton of big name backup quarterbacks.
well, what if a guy was a graduate at Georgia, let's say?
Yes.
It's shady on that rule because it felt like last year there was a kid that we were recruiting that was a grad transfer, and because his name wasn't in the portal before February 1st, we weren't allowed to recruit him, or at least that was what was communicated. Now, we'll see if that bears fruit this recruiting cycle, if that was just an excuse. So we'll see. But maybe as a grad transfer, there's a loophole there. I'm not exactly sure.
My only thought is there's going to be guys. I'm just using that. I don't even know if it'll come from one of those schools. There's going to be guys, though. There's going to be guys.
Going to be guys, and they're going to be interested in Auburn and Hugh Freeze, no doubt.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. All right, Zach, keep us going, big dog.
2330. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's William from Schulersburg.
William.
Yeah.
From Schulersburg. How about you?
Whoa.
Turn your head and cough.
I love y'all show, man. I stumbled up on y'all back in December. I was trying to find some information on Hugh Freeze.
Oh.
And I stumbled up on y'all by accident. I love y'all show, man.
It was fate.
There you go.
Yeah. I was wondering, what can you tell me about the basketball recruit? What's going on that? No.
Basketball recruiting, William, from Childersburg. It's really looking towards the future. I mean, 2023 class, Aiden Holloway has signed. He's the point guard. He's a stud, All-American, McDonald's All-American, I believe, right, Jhead?
Yes.
But as far as additions before next season, there will be many. I do believe that. I do believe there could be as many as 4 or 5, all from the transfer portal. I think Bruce Pearl is going to hit the transfer portal. The problem with what's going on right now is, in order to add those guys, you're going to have scholarships come open. You're going to have guys leave out. And
I think we have one scholarship available. We get that one back from the NCAA probation situation where we lost a scholarship for the last 2 years. I think we get that one back. So you've got one to play with. But if you're trying to make the changes to our roster that this coaching staff, I think, anticipates making, you're right, Jeffrey. You have to have more entrants in the transfer portal, guys that are just looking to further their career someplace else. And until that happens, there's only so much our coaching staff can do from a recruiting standpoint.
Because there aren't any guys. Everybody can come back, right?
Everybody can come back, including Stretch. Everybody's got a COVID year. So Flanagan's got a COVID year. KD, I think he's going to be a senior this year. Wynn would be a senior this year. Zalen's got a COVID year. So you've got a lot of retention there that could transpire. Chris Moore has one more year left. So a lot of guys there with a lot of years left to play. So somebody's going to have to make a decision at some point, whether it's the coaching staff urging them to look elsewhere, or whether it's their own self-interest that causes them to want to look at a different position from where they're at with Auburn, because there's just not that availability for upward mobility on the team.
Quite a predicament for this staff, because it's hard to kick guys off the team, but you turned about. Bruce was already recruiting the night that they lost out of the tournament.
Sure.
but their hands are tied because these kids have got to make these players have to leave before they can bring other guys in. They do have that one that we're under the belief that there is one. I know Bruce is heavily recruiting Flory Badunga, the 5-star 2024 big dude. There's been some buzz that he could reclassify to 2023. I know they're certainly recruiting him as if there's a chance. So he's another guy to keep an eye on in the 2023 class. But as far
Blue,
Denver Blue Ace, Blue Cane.
Yes, Blue Cane.
Blue Cane is a legitimate target. He is from
Florida somewhere, correct?
IMG.
Yes.
IMG. Blue Cane, Flory Badunga. Those two guys are in the I'm sorry. Flory is still 2024, recruiting him as possible for 2023. And then Blue Cane is the shooting guard from IMG that will probably visit. He's one to keep an eye on. But as far as everybody else goes there, William, it's going to be a wait and see approach on how many of those scholarships become available. And we'll be tracking it there at Auburn Live on 3. All right, Zach, we got one more, big dog.
Yep, one more caller.
All right, let's make it a good one here. They all been great.
8148. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
It's Big C.
Ooh, Big C. You sound big.
Man, I just want to call and just say War Damn Eagle.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Starting off this call, great, brother.
So far, so good, Big C. Do you have a question? Do you have a question, Big C?
That was it. He just hung up.
I like it. They're my favorite kind of callers.
Bye.
That was fantastic. That was that was a first ballot Hall of Fame call right there.
Absolutely. Gets us out on time. It says War Eagle and just hangs up.
And held. It was on hold for that long just to say War Eagle, man. Hey, how about you there to Big C? How about you?
There you go.
Man. Fantastic show tonight. Fantastic callers. We had some really good talking points, some really good questions. Yep. Some predictions as well. Does anybody have a favorite call from tonight?
Oh, Edward, showstopper.
He puts asses in the seats, big dog.
Yeah, he does.
Hogbone brings some good questions every time. I'll give him a little shout.
He's
inquisitive about things, man. He's got some good questions.
Let's see. We had Brian Davis, former.
Hey, look, first call tonight was great.
Brian Davis, there you go. Hey, Kevin. Had some quarterback interest, which is to be understood. Anthony from Montgomery finally shows back up.
Anthony's good too.
I had Clayton from Carrollton. Bryce from Beulah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Well, she was a little fancy with her questions. Kind of highbrow, right? Kelly from Buford.
Hey, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Hey,
she classed this place up, didn't she?
Did we have a bad call tonight? I mean, honestly.
No.
Edward, Chappie. We had Chappie, had Carter, Hogbone.
Yeah.
Had Bo from Moody coming back.
Yeah.
Drew from Auburn.
Wow.
William, and then Big C ended it with the WDE. Can't beat it, man. Great show. Great show. We appreciate everybody, man. This has been a lot of fun. We'll be back next week. Keith and I, or Cole and I, will be back in the morning, and Wednesday for Inside the 20. We'll have a big recruiting rundown at the end of the week, and then of course Sunday we'll be back with another call-in show. One more time for the Skyrider today in Auburn, wanting to know who could he get to call to find a home. Jessica Andrews with the Talons Group, folks. 334-704-4442. Give her a call. She will help you out. I promise you, 5-star realtor. Look at what Jhead said. 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you, man. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate it, man. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. For Jhead, for Keith, for Cole, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of that left lane. See ya.